Let's chat about science. We do science together as a family, and my kids range in age from 3 to 12. This year I have a preschooler, second grader, fifth grader, and seventh grader, and we do most of our science together. If you watched my video last year, I was really struggling to choose science, and I think I have it figured out. We are going to be breaking our science units into quarters is my plan. And so we are currently wrapping up our first science unit, which was one we did half of last year, and we're finishing it this year. And that is Weather and Natural Disasters from the Waldock Way. I really like this curriculum because it includes a written explanation for each lesson if you don't have access to the books that they suggest, but then it does have suggested books. It always has a YouTube playlist, which is my kids' favorite. It has an included experiment and then additional websites that you can access. And then it also has like fun activities like word searches. So for this part of the study, we already did the like weather part. We're doing more of the natural disasters. We learned about tsunamis, hurricanes. We did wildfires, which are really relevant to us because we live in California and wildfires differently happen here. We've actually moved out to like the country. So we're more in that zone of wildfires. So with this, we also added in some like escape type drills for the wildfires. Each child, I had them create their own map of our home and come up with 2 to 3 ways to exit the home and discuss different ways to get out, windows, doors, checking the doors for heat, things like that. And then we did do a wildfire drill and picked a meeting spot outside of our home, or fire drill, not just wildfire drill. And then for earthquakes, same thing. We live in California, right? Earthquakes happen. And so we actually just did a really fun lesson on earthquakes. We're wrapping up this science lesson. And I did create a short for it if you want to watch it. So basically we watched a video on earthquakes. We had a discussion. We did some earthquake drills. So we did an earthquake drill in our living room, and then we moved to the like kitchen dining area and did one talking about which room would you be in? Where would you go? You don't want to travel to another room. And then we also did one outside. And then we did a fun STEM project, which was like the toothpicks and the mini marshmallows, which who doesn't love mini marshmallows? And we put it over Jell-O and jiggled it to see if our structures would fall or stay. So we did that. And then when we end this study, we're actually going to create go bags. So just like little bags for each of my kids to have in the case of an emergency that they can take ownership of with an extra set of clothes, water, a snack, a flashlight, maybe a first aid kit, just something really simple so that they can feel in control if we do have to evacuate for some reason. The likelihood of that is low, but you just never know. So this was a really good starting point to have those discussions, and we really enjoyed the weather section as well. We did so many fun things, learned about different things. So this is going to be for the first quarter. And the second quarter, we are going to try a new curriculum because I've about used up all of the Waldock Way studies. We're going to do geology from the good and the beautiful. And this one is set up to be family style. And so they have a student journal for grades 7 to 8. And a student journal for grades 3 to 6, which my second grader will be fine to participate in this. So I got her one as well. So let me just give you a little peek in here. So they have these vocabulary cards, which I was really excited about. We will put those up on our wall as we go. And then it's just broken into lessons, right? So it does have an earthquake lesson as well. It also has a volcano lesson. So we skipped the volcano lesson in the weather because I know we're going to do volcanoes in here. And so you read through the lesson, do the activity, and then it tells you when to have the kids do their student journal. So for the 3rd to 6th graders, here's an example of what they would do in the student journal. And then the 7th to 8th graders do the same thing, but then they have an extra assignment in addition. So here's the lesson extension for that first lesson. So they would read and follow the directions here. And I think it's a good way to make sure that you're making it in depth enough for the older kids, which is what I've been really struggling with. So I'm hoping this is going to be the answer to my worries, at least for this school year. So if this science works out, what we plan to do is we'll do geology for the second quarter. And this is all, grand plans, and then I implement it and it may change. But geology for the second quarter, and then third quarter, we're gonna do their chemistry study, I believe. And I think I'm gonna maybe pull some teachers pay teacher resources and or a kitchen chemistry book off of Amazon to pull my younger kid in, because it is definitely geared towards a little bit older. So we'll do chemistry for the third quarter, and then fourth quarter, we will do a human body study. I haven't decided which one we're gonna do. I'm leaning towards the mind study from The Good and the Beautiful. However, we could do the study and I could absolutely hate it, and then I'll be back to square one. So I will definitely check back in and tell you what we end up doing in the future, but I'm crossing my fingers that this is going to meet my needs, because I wanted something family style. I wanted printed workbook. I wanted it scripted, and I wanted it to be unit study style so I can pick and choose what I want us to study. So I'm really, really crossing my fingers, hoping that this is going to be it, at least for the rest of this school year, so I don't have to go hunting again. I did say that I do these studies family style, right? And I even let my preschooler, she hangs out with us and, does what she wants to do with us, usually with the experiment piece. But I do have something that I'm doing with my two older kids that's going to be just one-on-one. And that's going to be more of like a health unit. So for my son, he's in 7th grade. We are reading Guy Stuff, the body book for boys. I did a lot of research just on Amazon, reading a lot of reviews, and before I chose this one. And then I did pre-read it just to make sure I was okay with the content and comfortable with it. And I was, for us. And so, it's got a lot of pictures and infographics. My son covered a thing. You saw there was a Post-it note there. He covered things up that he didn't want to see, and that's fine. But we are just talking through this, knowing about our bodies. It's definitely more of a personal thing. So it is something I'm doing one-on-one with my kids. So he's 12, 7th grade. And then my 10-year-old, we are reading this one. Again, I did a lot of research. This is the older version of The Care and Keeping of You. After doing a lot of research and talking in some Facebook groups, this is the one that I decided was going to be right for our family. I have not started it with her yet because I'm finishing the other one with my son, and I only want to do one at a time. So I have not pre-read this yet. So I'm going to pre-read it and make sure that I'm okay with the content. And then if I need to skip something, I will, because I'm going to be reading it with her. Again, but it's just got like a lot of pictures, and, it talks about caring for yourself. It's not just puberty. It's like taking care of yourself. And with the Guy Stuff book, I've actually been really happy with it because it talks about like health and caring for your teeth and caring for your body. And my son has already been like, oh, I did this. And like, look how clean my teeth are. And, so it's just giving them more information to take responsibility for their own bodies and care for them. So we'll be calling these health. And I do include those as part of our science. And so we'll be doing these probably first semester, second semester. And that's it for science for the year. If you have any suggestions, questions, comments, please let me know below, and come back tomorrow for another day of curriculum week.